Hey, thanks for stopping by to check out my latest video. I haven't done a video in a while, but there's so many things going on in the news, and as you know, I post videos about book reviews and about the work that I do with the various books that I write. And so I wanted to stop by and make a quick video today from my war room, my office here at home, about my recent book. It's called Revelation Calling, and this book was a kind of a year in the making. One of the things that's so prevalent about this book, what's so pertinent with this book in regards to what's going on in our culture and in our country, and quite frankly in our news right now, and this being mid-August almost of 2019, we have so many things in our country that we can just kind of look around and see how divided we are as a nation, how polarized we are, how quick we are to demonize other people with different opinions, points of view, and we've lost a lot of civility in our country. And point in fact, just go spend some time on Twitter, go spend some time on Facebook, and you'll see a lot of people that are just amped up. And I think the news media actually stokes a lot of these flames because, let's face it, they've had the mantra for years in the news: if it bleeds, it leads, right? So why not stoke the flames of cultural and social division? Because divide and conquer is not just a strategy in war; it's a strategy in a cultural war and a political war. Um, and we're kind of reaching, I think, in our country, dangerous levels. And ironically, I brought out my most recent book in May. It's called Revelation Calling, and I'm going to hold the cover up so you can take a quick look at it. Revelation Calling. Actually, it's a really great cover. A friend of mine, Gary Quapis, he used to actually, you probably know him from his days at Marvel, working on Savage Sword of Conan, working on the original Jurassic Park, all those advertisements and so forth. But he was nice enough to actually do this cover for me. We talked a little bit about the book, and I want to give you a little brief history on the book itself and the background. If you notice on the cover, no, that's not Stonehenge. That's what's called the Georgia Guidestones, and that's down in a little town called Elberton, Georgia, in Elbert County, which is kind of along the border of South Carolina. And it's near Hartwell Lake. And if anybody knows anything about fishing in the South, they know Hartwell Lake. Beautiful location, great town. Some really, I met some nice people there. Um, I was so enamored by the Georgia Guidestones that I wanted to actually have that as a kind of a backdrop, kind of the background of the story when I wrote Revelation Calling. Revelation Calling was actually inspired by two things. One, the Georgia Guidestones, and which, if you don't know anything about that, I'll give you a brief explanation here in just a moment. And then you can do some research, and I have some on my website that you can check out as well. But someone put up in 1980, erected this monument that they wanted to kind of mimic Stonehenge, but they put it up with a new set of 10 Commandments, basically for a new age of reason, as they call it. And the guy behind the mystery was used a fake name, R.C. Christian, or Robert C. Christian, and that got the conspiracy theorists, going about, was our Robert C. Christian, R.C. Christian, Rosicrucian, and looking back at those old secret societies and those secret orders. So that's where a lot of this started from. But I got really just wrapped up in researching the Guidestones, and actually went down there to see them for myself. Spent a couple days in Elberton. I got one person to talk to me. A lot of people in town were very standoffish. The Elberton Star newspaper, I contacted them several times before and during the process of writing. Heard nothing back from them. I tried to reach out to the Granite Museum there, because Elberton is called the granite capital of the world. No one ever replied to me. So I reached out to several people in the town, and nothing. But I did find one person that did talk to me. He asked to be remained anonymous. He was a pastor. He is, I guess, he's still a pastor down there in the area. So anyway, Revelation Calling, it's based off of my favorite. When I was a kid, I grew up in church, like most of us. And one of the verses that stick out most to me is Ephesians 6:12. And I'll just read that real quick, and then I'll give you a brief history of the Guidestones. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And the book starts out with a local who discovered the mystery behind who R.C. Christian was and who actually had the Guidestones put up, because today it's still a mystery. No one knows who did it. Someone spent an enormous amount of time and an enormous amount of money to erect almost a 20-foot tall granite monument. And to this day, we still don't know, because the only two people who knew was the president at the local bank, who signed a non-disclosure agreement that he would never disclose who Robert C. Christian was, and the guy at the granite company. And he was the only other person that knew who the mystery man was. So a little brief history on it. And you can find a lot of research online, so I'll not spend a lot of time in this video because I don't want to make it long. Back in 1979, a guy by the name of Robert C. Christian, using a fake name, walked into Elberton Granite Company. I think that was just off the top of my head. He walked into this company and asked to talk to the president of the company, and he had these blueprints for something he wanted to look sort of like Stonehenge, but he wanted to have it put up with a set of 10 commandments that for a new age of reason. And the first commandment, or first guide, as they call it, was what caught my attention. And it was to bring the world population to a level of control of 500 million people, so that it could be sustainable for, I guess, commerce, humanity, nature, to be in balance with nature. And I thought, well, 500 million, even back in 1980, when this monument finally went up, in I think it was March or April of 1980, and that was still, I think we had like 5.5 billion people. So if we're drawing the population back to 500 million, you got to kill a lot of people back then. Today we'd have to kill 6.5-7 billion people to bring it down to that. Now, a lot of people, I guess, made some excuses for, like, this guy. You read the guides, and some of them make sense, not to have frivolous politicians and settle things in a world court. But when you kind of look at it, it was I'll take a step back and look. It looks like eugenics and one world government rules, and so pointing people to that direction. And they apparently, whoever was behind it, had been planning it for a long time, and they carved the guides in English, but they also carved it in a total of 8 different languages. And then on top, there was a capstone, and they carved the guides in 4 ancient languages. And when you kind of wonder why they would do all that, because a couple of the languages that they put it in were not even some of the top languages in the world, right? So it was kind of, you kind of wonder. There's a lot of mystery behind that and why all that. And then next to the Guidestones, there's a thing on the ground that actually gives you some data behind it. And then there's a kind of a marquee over, not a marquee, but another plaque that's kind of standing upright. You can go and kind of read a little bit about it. And if you want to find some more detail about it, my website's cyrusalderwood.com. There's a section there called Strange Things, or whatever, strange stuff. So click on that, and you scroll down a little bit. You'll see all the guides that I listed there from the Guidestones. So anyway, that was it's been a mystery for a long, long time. It's not one of your top conspiracy theory mysteries, but it's been a mystery. And it captivated me. So I went down there in April of 2018 to go to see it for myself and kind of get a layout of the area and a feel of what people thought about it in town. People were very standoffish about it, which is why no one wanted to talk to me. I kind of found that out later on when I found one person to talk to me and kind of gave me some background on it. And to him, I greatly appreciate his help and helped me understand the local point of view on it, because a lot of people look at it as something evil and nefarious. And I get that. So anyway, fast forward to now, I start writing this book and why I wrote this book. At the time I wrote it, I had 2 themes that I really wanted to cover in the book. One theme is why bad things happen to good people, because the characters in the book, they're always pigeonholed and kind of struggling to find a faith in something that, and you're in a dark world that seems to be eluding them. So it's a biblical thriller, and I wanted to write a very captivating, exciting biblical thriller like some of the movies you've seen in the past. That I'll not name them because they're very popular and controversial, a couple of them in particular, from a best-selling author. But at the end of those stories, at the end of those books, at the end of those movies, it kind of gave you a reason to question your faith. Well, I wanted to write a book that was a little bit different. I wanted to write a very exciting story, captivating story that touched on a lot of the social issues we have today, and also that question about why bad things happen to good people. So I wanted to write that so that when you finish the book, two things happen. One, you have a reason to strengthen your faith. I didn't want to write a book that gave people a reason to question, because there's too much negativity and lack of trust in each other and lack of trust in institutions, even though a lot of the institutions bring it on themselves. But I wanted to write a book that kind of strengthened that, and then also looking at the world we live in today and the political division. And there's so many people that think, we're ripped apart at the fabric of our society. Why are we torn this way? What is the purpose and objective of that? And does all this just happen by accident? So I don't think so. And I talk about the media's role in things, and what we're talking about, I guess it's been popular the last 2 or 3 years, especially in our politics, is the existence of a deep state. And I mean, you even have media personalities that accept the fact that that is a real issue that people have faced. So I wanted to address that, and the last few pages of this book are incredibly powerful. And I wanted to write a book that made people want to not just when they're finished reading it, but sit down and kind of think about those themes, maybe discuss those themes. So again, it's a captivating mystery behind the Georgia Guidestones. It's a mystery what's going on in our world and our culture today, and so many questions about why, from gun, these mass shootings, the argumentative division. People can't even have a different point of view without the one side demonizing the other all the time. So I wanted to kind of address these things, because these are things that are just horrible for our country in the long run. So I do ask you that you give the book a chance, Revelation Calling by Cyrus Alderwood, by me. So go to Amazon.com and check it out. It's in paperback, $16.95. Kindle is $5.99, and you'll catch me throughout parts of Virginia, and maybe sometime here soon in parts of Kentucky and maybe Ohio, doing some book signings. So keep on my website, and I'll let you know where I'm going to be at doing book signings. But definitely go to those websites if you love a good thriller and you love something with some powerful themes that are kind of reaffirming and kind of address, like, it's pertinent with today's society and news and culture. Give it a chance. I'd certainly appreciate it. It's all again on Amazon.com, Revelation Calling, and or you can go to my website and click on the book cover, and it'll take you right to Amazon as well. Thanks again, and don't forget to jump on Amazon and let me know what you think of the book when you're done. If you know friends that would be interested in it, definitely point them in that direction, and stop and visit me on social media. I'll see you on Twitter, Facebook, and on my website. So thanks again, everybody. Take care, and let me know what you think of Revelation Calling. My next book will be out probably in about 3 months, and I'm not finished writing biblical thrillers. I think this book really kind of got me thinking about a lot of different things and a lot of different angles, and there certainly will be more of this, and some of the people that have read it said it was so far it's their favorite book that I've written. So hopefully I'll hear back from you. Take care, and talk to you soon.